and how those prints actually help you determine what the trend is actually doing. You can see the high here, 1382, 688 on the daily, yellow trend line for a prior intraday high, and white trend line for a daily trend line resistance. Today I want to go over a little story here on TGTX. I've been following this one for a few days. I've traded for a couple of days, couple of times. Today was one of those days where I decided that today I was gonna trade it as well. A couple of things that got me interested on this one. We're gonna have to change Heikanashis here. Just bear with me for a second, and we're gonna go back to regular, not the bars here. Hold up. I'm gonna go back to candlesticks. All right, so let me show you here daily candle. A couple of things you've noticed here, a couple of areas where I have trend lines already. Back here, trading on the daily, couple of times it pulled back very close to prior areas of resistance, 1165 for example. Just bear with me if you feel like I'm talking a little bit different. It's been a while since the last time I put out a video, and so I'm just trying to bring you this information. And so now we can see this prior highs and prior levels of resistance where it tapped a couple of times and then pulled back, and today was one of those days where I saw it here and I thought the same thing was going to happen. If you see the resistance here tap a couple of times, once and twice, for a retest of these areas very close to the 1388. And so coming out of the gates on this name, if you pay attention to the 5 minutes, when we were close to this areas, it pulled back. Right now I went back and went to check the news, see if we had any type of relevant news on this one. One of the things that I really liked, I started to participate at $13.53 on this one. This is my long trade today, and it was around the support of this areas here. View app was 1343, right? So I thought it was going to hold. It did pull back for quite a bit. It put me like 20 cents against my entry, which was 1353, and he tapped here towards the 20s, $13.32. Actually, as a matter of fact, I said 20 cents, so yeah, that was wrong. The first number was wrong. So one thing that I wanted to keep an eye on was the high on these levels here, right? So it did pull back for a little bit. It dipped and he held very close to this 50 simple moving average trend line here on this indicator, and so held here, reclaimed the view app, but here printed a couple of candles where it showed an area of resistance here when it rejected right here with this inverted hanging man on this 1 minute time frame. One thing that really caught my attention, and I don't usually use the dailies on this one, but I wanted to show it to you, is it 2 minutes. We're gonna go back to the Heikanashis because I use those to keep an eye on the trend. So taking a look at the Heikanashis back at the open, I'm gonna pull a little bit here, these areas. You're gonna notice how it gives you a very decent trend, and how those prints actually help you determine what the trend is actually doing. You can see the high here, 1382, 688 on the daily, yellow trend line for a prior intraday high, and white trend line for a daily trend line resistance. So you can see here how the moving view app held. This is a 2 minute time frame with Heikanashis to follow the trend when I started and I originated my entry long trade at $13.53, started to move very nicely. The reason why I wanted to trade this one today was because it was actually upgraded. It was upgraded to overperform or outperform, and from a $18 price target, it was moved to a $25 price target. And so although it did right here and pull me 20 cents against my entry on the long, I thought it would pull back from the get-go here with a nice bull flag pattern on the 1 minute time frame, which is the same thing here. If you look at the 5, it pulled here, held this little support area, came right back up. When you printed these areas around this 50 simple moving average on the 1 minute time frame, so he held, came right back to retest these areas, take the prior highs, and then follow through to retest. So we had a pretty clean bull flag pattern formation on the 5 and the 1, and then we push towards the high again here, very close to this area, $13.71, $13.73, so very close, pushing higher, new highs, $13.82. You can see how he reclaimed these areas. There were a couple of things that I was paying attention to when it came to moving towards the $14 mark. This is where I actually took the remainder of my shares. Now it did pull to the 14.30 in change. I think it was around this candles, 14.44. I started to take out when it started to print over the $14 area. 14.02, I took some out, make sure that I got paid, because I wanted to make sure that I got paid for my effort. And all throughout the day, I was posting a couple of ideas, a couple of pictures, a couple of things here or there, what I was popping on the community, the Discord, the Reddit community, and I also shared it in Twitter and StockTwist. So I took some out towards 14.02, and then as he kept on moving, I kept on scaling out towards these areas, these highs. If you notice right here, when it started to print these areas, I thought we're going to have a shift on the character. Then it did happen for a few minutes. If you look at here how it trended lower, but it kept this small base around these areas, and this base support around the $14 mark, which is the whole dollar area, held, and then it reclaimed the moving average VWAP, or the moving VWAP, to print a new high here, break the $14.31. Now the higher day today, you can see right here, $14.67. Now one of the things that I'm going to keep an eye on is the reason that it was upgraded to outperform, and the price target was moved from the $18 mark to the $25 mark, and that gives me a little bit of conviction moving forward to keep a couple of long trades along the way. I traded it in the past and it worked out a couple of times. It flushed. That was one of my main concerns today, but being that it had good news, that was one of the things that I liked. I have traded this stock in the past over the last 2 weeks. One day in particular, it printed a channel with somewhat of a resistance, not being able to break over it, and then it plunged over 40 seconds. It plunged $1.20. So I was a little bit concerned when it comes to long trades on this one today, but at the same time, since we had good news on it, I felt a little bit more comfortable with holding this trade for a little bit while longer. Originally, I thought of putting a long trade as a day trade, but long-term hold for the whole day. I didn't actually do it. I exited here when it was actually pulling back. Is switching the character on the move and view app, but I thought that it was probably gonna change character overall throughout the afternoon. And a couple of people were sending me messages through this not the Discord but the Reddit community, and I said, well, I'm gonna be risk off, and I'm gonna revisit if this actually turns out to hold, and come back and reclaim the move and view app to actually reclaim the bullish trend. It actually did. I didn't put any other shares inside afterwards. I wasn't risk on after anyway, after this thing reclaimed the move and view app, but it did reclaim and held these $14 area for that base support. Today I just wanted to bring you this video. It's been a while since the last time I recorded one, and I wanted to make sure that I bring you some information, keeping you fresh. And again, if you feel like my voice, the way that I behave, maybe the way that I spoke today throughout the video was a little bit different, well, then just bear with me. Because the reason why that probably happened is because it's been a while since the last time I actually created some content to put it out here in the channel. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Happy trading. Stay green. I will see you all later.